Welcome back. We're in
Hello, hello.
episode number 2.
Am I too far from you?
No,
Okay,
that's perfectly fine.
okay.
Episode number 2 of Life and Curly Cues podcast with me, Eileen. And yeah, we're going right into it. I have a new guest today, and my new guest is someone super special. She is not English. See, I still can't English after the first episode. She's not only a great person and awesome person that we're going to be talking about all her stuff later, but she also just happens to be my mother. And so I would like everybody to meet my mother,
Hi,
Janet Sanchez.
everyone.
I'm super excited. She was with me on the initial trip where I was like, oh, I want to do a podcast. And now we're here on
Yes,
episode number 2.
so excited for you.
And so today we're going to talk about her experiences, of course. Remember, Life in Curly Cues is about adulting and kind of your experiences about it. And so that's what we're going to do. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself besides you being my mother?
I have never been so nervous in my life.
And she's been
And a
interviewed
lot
by
of
a lot of
interviews.
different people.
What was the question? Okay.
So tell us a little bit about yourself besides being my mother.
So I am a military spouse. I um, we just retired in March, last March, and I am from Puerto Rico. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. Um, what else? I don't know about. Well, um, I like to help people,
Mhm.
and sometimes I wish I could do more. So I put that on myself, which is not good. But yeah, and I'm very involved in my kids' schools, and of course, this will be my last year involving in school, and involved in the community. I think that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like I said, pretty awesome of a person. And so going into it, I'm just gonna go ahead and ask you the first question.
Sure.
What was there, because you said you were born and raised in Puerto
Yes.
Rico, but you did come over to the States for
In,
college,
in
I believe?
1992.
Okay. And so, and to everyone thinking, Puerto Rico is part of the United States.
It is.
It's not its own country. It's part of the
It's
U.S.
part of the USA. We're a Commonwealth.
What was the moment where you were like, I'm a, I'm starting to become an adult? What was that initial moment where you were like, oh man, I'm starting to enter into this adult world?
This is very interesting and kind of weird in a way, just because I think I started becoming an adult as a child,
Okay.
which is completely different of how you guys did. My
Yeah.
kids, you especially, and the other two did their life. I, as a child, of course, we used to live um, in a countryside of Puerto Rico, and we didn't have the meanings that we have now, right? So my mom and dad used to work in the telephone company in Puerto Rico, but it was very far away from where we used to live. They used to work in San Juan. We live in Sidra. So um, while I was a child, I remember um, that I will stay behind with my grandma. And at points, I remember my aunts, there was no roads still, so it was dirt roads.
Okay.
So we literally had to walk to the main street. And from there, and it was a long walk, and from there we will get a bus that will take us to school. So my aunts, which I have to say my mom has a lot of brothers and sisters,
Yes,
and
we have a very big family.
I'm the oldest grandchild. So my aunts will walk with me and take me to, this was kindergarten, but I'm trying to go back so you can see how I become an adult as a child. Um, so my aunts used to walk with me to the main road, and then from there we would take a public transportation. It was a small bus, and they will drive us to town. That was the only place that they had kindergarten at that time. So kindergarten was only until 12, and my aunts were in middle school and high school, little middle school, I think. And at 12, they will go and pick me up at kindergarten, walk me back to the bus stop, put me on the bus stop by myself, and then I had to ride that bus by myself back to my home. And then when I got in the bus stop at my house,
Mhm.
then one of my other uncles will wait there for me, and then they walk me back to the house.
Wow.
So that was childhood.
That's very different.
Very different. And I have to say, all our family lived together. So my mom's house was right in front of my grandma's house.
Mhm.
So there was always somebody there. But as I grew up, once I went to, I remember third, fourth grade, fifth grade, um, and my sister was in elementary school too. My mom then will drive us to school, and the elementary school was very close to our house. So she would leave us sitting down in front of the fence of the school when she used to leave for work.
Mhm.
And we will sit there until the cafeteria ladies will come
And open it
and
up.
open it up so we could sit there.
Oh.
So I, at that point, I had to take care of my sister while
Mhm.
we will sit there and wait. Um, and then when school was over, I have to go back home, and my grandma teach me how to cook for my mom and my dad. So when they got home from work, there
You'd
was
have food ready.
food. Um, so I don't complain at all
Mhm.
because it literally made me the person that I am today. But um, I looking back, and I was like, oh my God. I mean, I really did adult earlier than
You adult at elementary ages.
elementary age. Yes,
Okay.
because I felt the responsibility on my shoulders that yes, mom and dad was going back to
Mhm.
work. They had to drop me off at school very early. We will sit in the fence on that fence was open to go to the cafeteria. In that moment, I had to watch for my little sister.
Mhm.
But then after school, it was the same thing. I had to go back home, and I had to um, take care of my sister
Mhm.
and and cook dinner if it was to cook dinner, unless grandma cooked dinner for us,
Yeah.
which she did a lot.
That's pretty crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It
Not a
is.
lot of people have that type of adulting experience, whereas like when I mentioned in the first episode, mine was a series of events, but essentially it all started from when I got my car,
Correct.
which I was already 19 by then,
Exactly.
and that's when
Exactly.
I considered it becoming adult, whereas
Exactly.
you were like 6, 7,
Yeah, exactly.
already taking on
And
adult
and
things.
after I finished elementary school, which in Puerto Rico is sixth grade, seventh grade, my mom decided to take us to the city.
Mhm.
So we went to a private school, which it was close to her work. So we literally left the house very, very early in the morning, and we will drive to school. We will be at school, and then sometimes school was over at 1:20 for us. Literally, sometimes we will go to mom's work and just stay there until she was done at 5 so we could drive together at home. By, I said, by eighth grade, um, I was in a, I was always a dancer, you know that.
Mhm.
I dance a lot since
Yeah,
I
my
was a
mom went
child.
to a ballet high school in Puerto
Yes.
Rico, which was pretty
so,
cool.
so it was, it was by eighth grade, then I was very into dancing in my hometown. So I was able to go to class, and
Mhm.
this is I I I still think back and say I was crazy for doing this, but it was the only way I could have dance in my life. So
Mhm.
I literally will. get public transportation from the city, which is very far away
Yeah.
from my hometown. And I had to take a bus from my private school to one of the main towns. From that main town, I will get another bus to another main town. And then from the other main town, I will get a bus to our town. And then from there, my mom will pick me up around 6 or 7 when they were already back from work. So I will take public transportation
Mhm.
in Puerto Rico to 4 different towns almost to get to my dance class. So I didn't miss it, and I was by myself.
Yeah.
And seriously, I was by myself. I was doing this by myself, and I'm thinking it was eighth grade, ninth grade. Yeah,
Dang. That's
it was
crazy. It's so different. It's such a different world
because I won't
now.
let you do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't allow my kids to do that crazy stuff
Yeah.
at all, at all. But I guess we live in different times,
Yeah, we do.
and that time was, I guess, if it was unsafe, we didn't know,
Mhm.
and I guess we trusted everybody. I don't trust anybody anymore. I would allow no. I have to say that I would love for my kids to be born in Puerto Rico, but I don't know the way that we. I don't know how to explain it, but the way that you guys grew up here, it
Mhm.
wouldn't be the different.
It
It
would
would be different
it
in
would have been
Puerto
very
Rico.
different. Yeah.
Very different. Yeah.
Yeah. Cuz even looking at how cuz you have cousins, which I guess they'd be my first
Your first
cousins.
cousins. Yeah.
So you have cousins that are around my age or younger than my
No,
age.
let me. No, they're my first cousins. There will be your second cousins.
They're your cousins.
Yeah.
Isn't it cousin, first cousin, second cousin, or is cousin the same as first cousin?
I think cousins is the first cousins. I don't know. Check with 1, 2, 3 me. I don't know.
That has always confused me. Anyways, you have
We have a
cousins.
lot. Like
There's a
20
lot.
something.
There's a lot of cousins in our family. You have cousins that are around my age or younger than me
Yes.
that have grown up very different. I
Yes.
mean, they've grown up in the same time as me, but
Yeah.
very different as
Very
me.
different.
So you could think of it as if we had been born in Puerto Rico and grown up in Puerto
It
Rico
would have
like
been
you
so
were,
much different.
it would have been more like how they grew up
Yeah.
rather than how we grew
Yeah.
up here,
Correct.
military life and all
Yeah.
that. Like we would have
It
probably
was more
stayed.
structure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
It
sure.
was more structure.
We'd probably be way more in touch with nature because you
Correct.
lived in the mountains,
Correct.
and the mountains
Yeah.
is just
And your grandpa has animals, and
yes. Grandpa
everybody
has
in my
chickens
family
and
has
rabbits.
animals, and we, whatever we don't eat, we give it to the pigs. So, yes,
Yeah.
I guess.
That's how it would be, you know? So you adulted essentially as a very young
Very
kid.
young.
Not a lot of people have that experience,
Very
or if
young.
they do, it's from back in the
Yeah.
day. I'm
But
not.
it was safe. I was safe.
Yes.
At any, I don't remember being unsafe in any, at any time doing
Okay.
that.
Okay. So you adulted early, and then you are now here at now today. Do
Hmm.
you feel like you are full on an adult already? Or do you feel like there are still moments where you're like, oh, I'm still like not not essentially learning because everyone's still learning,
Yes.
but are there moments now where you're just like, oh, this is what being an adult is like. I'm still adulting type of thing.
Oh, yeah, every day. I think you grow and you learn every day, and adulting is a daily thing.
Mhm.
I mean, anything is going to come to you at any point. So you either prepare or not.
Okay. So is
So,
there a recent moment where you were just like, oh, I'm still adulting? Like you've
uh,
got the kids, you've been settled down for 20 something
yes.
years. Like now was there a recent moment within the past like month or 2 months where you were just like, "Oh, I'm still figuring this out. I'm still adulting."
I guess when you get news that you don't want to hear by yourself,
Okay.
and then you're in that position going like,
Still.
Still adulting by
Okay.
myself. There's no one right next to me. Yeah,
Okay.
that one.
Okay. So going past that, kind of going back to you and what you do and who you are, um, you're, again, I'm gonna keep saying it, an awesome person. But
Thank you.
you mentioned you like helping people. You do
Yes.
good. Is
Yes.
there a I mean, I know there is, but some people, I mean, pretty much everybody, you're a local celebrity, essentially.
No, I'm not a local
I like to
celebrity.
tell everybody my mother is basically a San Antonio celebrity because if
No,
you
no.
don't know her, you will know her by the end of the day
Yes.
wherever she goes. I mean, we even learned that when we went to a conference in Miami
Yes.
together. So, oh, my dog's barking. Um, Zeus, silence.
he's
He hears something.
he hears
Someone's
something.
walking
Yeah.
by the door.
Yeah.
Um, Man, Zeus. Okay. Oh, so everyone knows you, and if they don't know you, they'll know you. Anyways, what do you do? So you mentioned you do good. What is it that you do to do good?
I think is one important thing to do good is understanding, and it's not assuming thing, and is listening, and maybe saying I'm here,
Mhm.
you know, what you need. But sometimes that can backlash, is that how you say it? It can
Like backfire?
backfire
Mhm.
to you because you are so into other people that you forget yourself. So this is where self-care comes. So I do a lot, and I like to give whenever I can, my time, of course. Um, I wish I have money to give, but um, uh, but since I was a child, my grandmother and my grandfather from my mother's side told me that um, you give what you can't, and when you have time in your hands, you give to others,
Mhm.
and you volunteer your time, and and it's been satisfying. I think since I was little, I
Mhm.
like to help others, and that's how we grew up. I
Mhm.
mean, it was you need help, okay, let's
Mhm.
go.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything, let's go. And this is how my community and this is how my family is. I think it's all of them.
Yeah. And it definitely shows that's how you grew up because that's how you raised us,
Yeah.
where
Correct.
we have that sense of
Correct.
we want to do good, we want to help. Like
Correct.
the amount of volunteer hours that I had by the end of high school and
Correct.
then took that on to college, and then same with bro- English. Same with bo- our oh my gosh. Same with my brothers.
Yeah.
Um
And
we've
I'm
all
very
done.
proud because I like to see you guys do that. So I have to say, when I saw you in college getting involved with organizations, with nonprofits, and helping
Mhm.
and volunteering, it was very dear to my heart because I was like, even if I didn't say it, you were listening and you were looking. So it was great to see
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, and so you do good. You've done it since you were little, but you have a nonprofit that
I
you
do.
started yourself,
I do.
which I want to get into a little bit to kind of just share with everybody the good that you do. So tell us about your nonprofit, which is Esposas Militares Hispanas,
Hispanas.
USA Armed Forces, and just tell us what made you want to start that and when you started it? Kind
Okay.
of a little brief history.
Okay. So as a military spouse, of course, my English is not perfect. You guys can hear that and see. Um, and my accent is sometimes strong. We'll tell you a story about yesterday later.
that's that's what's playing in my head right now. Yesterday's.
So, anyways, we'll tell you about that later. But so in 19, well, let me backtrack. As a military spouse in a military base where you don't know anybody or
Mhm.
you don't know the language, is very hard. So I did know a little English because mom and dad usually every summer took us here to United States to visit family or whatever,
Mhm.
so we could practice. And in Puerto Rico, everybody knows English. We're just very
Stuck
proud
to
and
Spanish.
yeah, stuck to Spanish, and we don't practice much. But I mean, English is everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, so you feel sometimes um, alone as a military spouse that you don't. I mean, in a different place because you don't know the language. And I remember um, as soon as we joined the military, I was helping other military spouses when they had to go to um, doctor's appointments or where they had to go to different places, and I will translate. So when we were at Walter Reed, I used to translate for the spouses or the parents of the injured soldiers that were coming back from war. So um, it started like that, but then in 2007, when we were at Fort Knox, we had a little group of like 10 military spouses that we used to take K classes together,
Mhm.
and we used to leave the kids at school and then go and have coffee or whatever. And it was a great time, but at the same time, I could see the struggle on how they communicate. And every time we spoke, um, I could see they're worrisome and
Mhm.
about how they were dealing with life in base. So
Which makes sense. Yeah.
what I did was I opened it. I talked to my husband, your dad, and I said, I think I'm gonna open a small a group on Facebook. Um, and I didn't even know what Facebook was, but your aunt told me about it
Mhm.
because my senior class had a group in there. And I was like, what? So I can get in touch with my friends.
Yeah.
So I got in on Facebook and I said, I'm going to start a group for spouses from Puerto Rico. At that time, it was only from Puerto Rico spouses that don't speak English, where we can gather together, put information, translate information for them, and at least they have a place to join us and feel comfortable, right? And feel safe.
Yeah.
Um, and feel part of the community. And we did it. And it was only 10 of us at the beginning, and out of the blue started growing up and growing and growing, and everybody was asking permission to get on the group. And couple months passed, and we had messages from military spouses from other countries, Hispanic countries
Mhm.
like Panama or Honduras or even Spain, asking, "Hey, I'm not from Puerto Rico, but I'm a military spouse. I only speak Spanish, and I need help.
Mhm.
Can I join?" And we were like, "Yes, of course." So that's when we changed the name to Esposas Militares Hispanas, so we could include all Hispanic Latin military spouses in the world that are part of U.S. Armed Forces. And now we are over 10,000
$10,000?
no,
Yeah.
we are over sorry, we are over 10,000 spouses all over the world.
Which is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And we
amazing.
have been together for 11 years now
Mhm.
in Facebook.
Yeah.
I know,
I
it's
like
awesome.
I like to joke around, but also in all seriousness that you are a like ambassador for Facebook because
I love Facebook
yeah,
and they know it.
she
I
like
love
has
it.
such a personal relationship with
Yes,
Facebook
I
because
do.
of she's a essentially a trailblazer
Yes.
for Facebook's groups.
Yes.
Where she's one of like the biggest groups that started
That started,
initially
I think, yes, I think we were one of the first groups that started on Facebook
with like a
for
major
military
following.
spouses.
Yeah.
And we could have literally thousands and thousands more of spouses, but because of security issues and
Mhm.
because it's very important for me that anyone in that group feels safe,
Yeah.
we vet everybody that comes in. So um, we're there. We're in all social networks. We have a website. We have scholarships now. We have English classes now for free,
Yeah,
and
tell
it's a lot.
say a little bit about the new endeavor that's going
So
on.
the new endeavor is thank you to Facebook. Facebook, thank you.
I'm telling you, she's
Yes,
basically an
it's
ambassador.
free advertisement. Thank you, Facebook. Um, I love Facebook, and Facebook knows it. But anyways, they have been big part of the grow and the success of Esposas Militares
Mhm.
Hispanas because first is a free platform, so I don't have to spend money
Yeah.
to give information and to protect these military spouses. So um, we were chosen for Facebook Leadership Community Program FCLP, and it was 150 of us around the globe, and we were one of the lucky ones. So we got a grant from Facebook, and we did our proposal, and part of it was English classes, and we partnership with USA Learns, and we have now a classroom, a free classroom for military spouses to learn English for free.
Which is
Anywhere in
amazing.
the world,
Yeah.
and they can do it online.
Technology, man.
Yeah, they can do it
Who
online.
would have
And
known?
we started the program, what, 4 days ago?
Yeah, pretty recent.
4 days ago, and the first 4 days, excuse me, we probably have about 500 registers already. Like
Mhm.
we have sent a lot of email, but we have about 500 in the first class, which is perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
I was expecting less, so it's good. We're doing good.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. I've been with my mom ever since the beginning of her
Yes.
creating this nonprofit, and it's pretty cool to see how she went from just a small group to a very large group, but then also turning that very large group into a nonprofit group
Correct.
where she can get it. So it's like I said, she's a little local celebrity because she is the founder of this nonprofit, and she has had interviews with different like magazines, different companies. She's been on the news sometimes talking about her organization. Like it's a big deal, and it's a big deal for the military community
Yes.
because there's lots of different organizations that help military, but hers is specific to
We
Hispanic
are
families.
we are the pioneers, and I think we were the first group ever
Mhm.
to help Hispanic military spouses all over the world. Um, we're trying to concentrate now in language barriers, so we want to expand to other military spouses that have language barriers that come from different
Yeah.
countries, which is my one of my other dreams. So, but little by little we will get there. But yes, I have been. I think we have changed rules. We have changed legislation. I mean, we have testified in Senate. We have, um, or at the Capitol here in Austin, we have been able to go to the Senate in DC. Have been able to um, talk with
Di-
big
different important people.
shots,
Yeah.
important people
Fancy
about
people.
the or problem because it
Mhm.
was a big problem. We have tons of military spouses that were left behind because
Yeah.
they didn't know English, and I was worried about that because one of the main problems was we have a lot of young, very young military spouses, and as soon as they get to their bases, um, their husband will be sent deployment, and this woman or man
Mhm.
will stay behind not knowing anything about the military life or who to contact in case of an emergency or what to do or
Mhm.
what was available for them. So they know they can go to us. They have a resource with us, and we can direct them on the right way. If we don't have the resource, we can send them to another organization or even inside a base
Yeah.
to get whatever they need.
That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Very proud of it. Very proud of it.
I mean, you should be. It only makes sense that you'd be very proud of it. Um, what was I gonna say? I forgot what I was gonna say. But that is all the questions I have for you about
Mhm.
you, your organization, how you feel about adulting. But now we're getting to the tail end of the podcast where we grab questions
Okay.
from the
The
donut
donut.
mug of questions. We did it in episode 1, and I'm going to continue doing it. So you added a couple more
Yes,
questions to the
I did.
jar. And so we're going to go ahead and pick from the jar and
I pick
talk about,
anything?
yeah, just pick one question and then
Okay.
tell us your response to the question. Read it out loud and then give me
Oh
your answer.
God.
There's some questions
I
in
know
there from
Jasenia
before.
wrote some in here, so
Yes.
I'm afraid what she wrote. What is she asking?
You can skip if you need to skip or choose a new one if you need to choose a
Okay,
new
well
one.
that does. All right, let's see.
You look so confused.
Is your what?
Let me see.
I can't. Is this what?
Is this generation too consumed by media? So today's generation.
Um. Oh wow. I don't think it's consumed by media. I think it's consumed by social networks, which
Which
is it's
it's kind of a media.
it's
Yeah.
I consider media the news.
Okay.
Okay, so if it's consumed by social networks, yes, I
Mhm.
think it is. But it's like everything, and we're evolving,
Yeah.
and we're growing, and technology is taking over, and I think it's part of this generation. So I'm not mad about it because I'm learning a lot from you guys. Um, but could could there be a limit? Yes, it could
Mhm.
probably be a limit, but that's between parents, children, and you as a person. Um, I should not dictate how long you're going to be in the internet if you're an adult, right?
Mhm.
As a mom, yes, I'll probably say, hey, you're being too long on your phone. Please put it down, or no phones on the table,
Mhm.
or whatever. But I think it's part of this generation, and we have to respect that. Maybe I didn't have that while I was growing up,
Yeah.
but we have other things.
Mhm.
So we grew up that with that cycle of life.
Yeah.
So I think it's part of it.
It's part of it.
Yeah.
So it's not too consumed
No, it's
by
not.
it.
I don't think it's consumed by it. I think that's a personal choice.
Yeah.
And if you want to be consumed by media,
Mhm.
go for it.
Yeah.
If you think it's too much, just stop watching it
That's true.
or stop doing it. So why will you
Sometimes
put yourself through
yeah,
that?
sometimes you need a cleanse from
Yeah,
the
so
media
why
because
will
it's
you?
a little too
I mean,
crazy.
if it's too much for you, take a break and move away. But I mean, I think it's a personal choice. I hate to impose on people. I hate
Mhm.
to say you should not do this when you are in charge of your
Yeah.
life. There you
I mean, that makes sense. All right. That was a good answer. My turn. Mm. Oh, excuse me. Let's see. Okay. This is a question I wrote, and it's have you ever Googled your English? Have you ever Googled yourself? I have Googled myself, just to see what would pop up, and actually, like, I'm not a lot of Eileen Garcia Sanchez is out there, but I did Google myself, and it was when I was younger. I was still like in middle or high school,
I
just to
remember I
see.
told you guys to Google
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah, you
I did.
encouraged us to do
Yes,
it,
I did.
and
You and Jonathan.
yeah, and when we did it, the
And I was trying to teach you guys that whatever you put on the internet,
mhm,
it will stay on the
yeah.
internet.
So there were, of course, like by that point, I had my social media accounts, so those popped up. But there was also an article from when I was in elementary school, when I was in
Third
third
grade.
grade, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was an article about me getting an award for helping a
Oh.
girl with a disability
You
in
and
my
Jonathan.
classroom.
Yes.
Yeah, we both had kids that
Yes.
had disability in our
Yes.
classroom, and we were noticed by the local news for it. And so there was an article about us, and that was pretty cool to see, like, not only my social media was there, but that there was an article from when I was a
Long
child.
time
Yeah,
ago.
like the early 2000s.
And what is that says?
That's just
It never goes away.
yeah, it's there forever. I'm pretty sure if
Exactly.
you googled it now, you could I think I
It's
tried
still
googling
there.
it. Yeah.
It's still there.
I tried googling myself like a few years ago, and I think it's
Trust
still
me, as
there.
a parent, I Google all their names.
Just
I
to see if
Google
we're in trouble
Eileen,
or
I
not.
Google Jonathan, and I Google Chris once in a while to make sure that nothing bad pops up, or good. I mean, but you never know.
So yeah, I have Googled myself, and it's pretty cool to see that's part of my history. Because of that moment, I had learned sign language for a little bit. I
Yeah.
don't know a lot, but I learned a little bit because of the girl that I was helping, and it was super cool to see like, oh, I was a little local celebrity when I
Yeah,
was in
just
third
a
grade.
little. Yeah.
But and I'm pretty sure you've Googled yourself. I
I
mean, if you
didn't.
Google my mom now,
You'll
everything
see a lot of stuff.
you'll only see the one Janet Sanchez, and it'll be everything she's done, every news article she's been
Yeah.
on, every Facebook thing
I
she's
think
been
I have
involved in.
been blessed that way, and I think um, in maybe a lot of people would not agree with me, but I didn't ask for all this
Mhm.
recognition because I hate to be
Yeah.
recognized, and you know that. I hate to be put on the spot.
Yes.
Um, but I think I did it every single time, not for me, just for those spouses
Mhm.
that were right there. And I never say behind me, I
Yeah.
said right next to me
Mhm.
because we are all the same.
Yeah.
Um, so, yes, there's a lot of news covering, there's a lot of
Mhm.
talk about the organization. If you search my name, there's a lot out there.
Yeah, there is a
A
lot.
lot.
And you mentioned you don't like being the center of attention, but if there's ever something wrong or something that you don't like, you will make sure you're heard by it.
Yes.
My mom, we like to joke around in the house that she's the Twitter queen because if there's ever
Oh my God, yes.
if
I have
there's
Twitter too.
if
Thanks,
there's
Twitter.
ever a problem that she encounters with any type of company,
Yes.
whether it be in person or online,
Yes.
she will tweet that company and
And get it fixed.
she'll get a resolution out of
Do
it.
you want a resolution? Do you have a problem? This is a PSA. Do you, if you have any problem with any company, anything, do it on Twitter. Just do the complaint on Twitter. I am telling you, you will get an answer back from whoever
Yeah.
is in charge of that company in less than 5 minutes.
Mhm.
You literally will get an answer.
Yeah.
It's better than calling customer service. It's better than sending a letter. Twitter is the thing for you to get stuff done.
Yeah, so she's a Twitter queen because she gets it done. She makes sure her voice is heard
Yes.
by how infuriated she is with
Yes.
said company. It
With
may or may
some
not have
stuff.
happened multiple times already.
It had happened multiple. I don't like injustice,
Mhm.
and you know that. And I don't like racism,
Mhm.
and I don't like when people are unfair with
Mhm.
others or take advantage of others. So if you're out there and you try that with me, I'm gonna blast you on Twitter for sure.
Twitter queen.
I don't think your dad likes that, but I don't care.
All right, go ahead and pick
Pick
another
another
question.
questions. Okay.
But while you're picking that other question, and before you read that question,
Uh-huh.
let's talk about last night's language barrier that you had, since your organization is about language
Yeah.
barrier.
So my accent is very strong, and we were going to the first football game here in San Antonio, and we got tickets from Claudia, our friend, and the parking lot issue was
Was a
extremely
ridiculous mess. They
crazy.
had no handicap or disabled
Disabled
veteran,
parking. And
wow,
there was not
disabled
even
veteran
like
parking.
paying parking anywhere.
Yeah,
Everything has it was a permit.
and they had advertised it that there was
Exactly.
going to be parking.
So, anyways, it was about 2 hours us looking for parking, and we
Basically.
decided we're leaving and we're
It's not
gonna
worth
go
it
eat.
anymore.
It's not worth it. We just watch it on TV.
Yep.
So we went to this restaurant and we sat down and eat. And at the end of the dinner, I asked for some tea,
Yeah, and you wanted honey with your tea.
and I wanted honey with my tea. And the lady literally says, "Honey, what is that?" And I'm like, "Honey? I want some honey for my tea?"
She just kept repeating, honey,
And she goes,
honey.
"Well, I don't know what it is, and I
So
don't
we
even,
don't have it.
so I don't think we have it." I'm like, "You don't have honey?" I'm like, "We're in a Chinese freaking restaurant. I'm pretty sure they use honey on something. And my husband, of course, and Eileen were like, she wants honey. And I guess my husband said it right and I said it wrong. And my accent was, I'm pretty sure I say the right thing, but she didn't hear the right thing. So, whatever. At the end, I got my honey.
Okay, now we can go back to your question.
It was funny, though. Uh, what is your proudest moment? Oh, wow. I have three proudest moments.
Child 1, child 2,
Yep.
child 3.
Child 1, child 2, child 3. There you go. That's my proudest
Too
moment.
easy.
Yep. Very easy. That's my proudest moment.
Nice. Mine, I mean, there's a lot of different moments. I think my proudest is like actually graduating college in 4 years.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would do it in 4 years. I thought I would.
think you were.
I thought I would be like a super senior, especially because science, science degrees, like biology degrees, they're pretty hard.
Yeah.
Like the classes are really difficult, and
I know you struggle sometimes.
oh my gosh, yes.
But I knew for sure that you're like your mother, stubborn, and I knew you were gonna make it happen
Yeah.
in 4 years.
Yeah. That it was a rough 4 years, but the fact that I did it in 4 years was amazing
Yeah.
because there were so many of my friends and a lot of kids, a lot of people in my classes that they were on the course of essentially doing 5 years or
Yeah.
more than 4 years of getting their
Yeah.
degree because like I said, those classes are hard and a lot of people have to retake them. I had to retake 2 classes out of those
Yeah.
4 years, but even retaking them, I still managed to complete it in 4 years. I think that's my
I think
proudest
I have
moment.
taught you guys what priorities mean,
Mhm.
and you had your priorities straight.
No, I made it seem like I did.
Well, well, I'm not saying you needing have fun, or I didn't. I don't. I'm not saying that just sometimes you
Mhm.
step the wrong way or whatever, but still your education was
Yeah.
important, and you wanted to complete that. So I knew it doesn't matter what you had to do, you were gonna finish
True.
college.
Yeah,
So,
but I'd say that was a good proud moment of
yeah.
mine. Let's see. Okay. Oh, no, it fell. Oh. Um, how was your childhood? I mean, we talked about yours
Yeah, we
already.
did.
Mine was pretty awesome, I gotta say. I was the firstborn, so I gotta say I was pretty
Spoiled brat.
spoiled by not only my parents, but also my grandparents and my great grandparents and my great family and everybody in the family.
She was the first great grandchild.
And the first grandchild
The first
on
grandchild
your
on
side.
my side.
Yeah.
On my mom's side.
Yeah.
First grandchild, first great grandchild.
Mhm.
So she was very spoiled.
I was.
Very spoiled. Very
Yeah,
spoiled.
so it was a fun childhood though. I experienced the most moves out of
Yes,
all
you
your
did.
kids. The youngest one got lucky with essentially being in
Yeah.
one place his entire
And started
childhood.
childhood.
So I'd say I got lucky in being able to move because I got to meet so many different people and make so many different connections. So that was pretty awesome. And then just also so many different experiences from living in places. Then again, we only lived in the U.S. We never
We never
went
went overseas.
overseas,
Never.
but it was still pretty cool just to grow up that way. Like I wouldn't picture. It's hard to picture a life without the military. Like right
Correct.
now, it's very. I'm not.
Very weird for you.
It's very weird for me. I lost my military benefits on
An
my
ID?
birthday. I lost my ID to be able to get on base. That's a major adulting moment for me. No longer having
Yeah,
those types
every
of
time
benefits.
I said Eileen, go and pick up Christoph, she's like, I have no
I
ID.
can't get on base. I don't have an
Got
ID. So yeah, that's definitely a life that I don't know how to live without, but also I wouldn't change it for anything because that made me who I am today.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty great childhood.
Does that make you? Um, a lot of people talk about military families feel like they're entitled of everything
No.
because we have benefits and we have IDs or whatever.
Mm.
Now that you don't have an ID, um, do you think at that point you were entitled to that? Like, do you felt like
I didn't
what was how do you feel different?
I didn't feel like I was entitled. I just like I felt lucky. Like
Yeah,
I felt very blessed
that's a good
to
one.
have that chance at a different life. Like I know uh, growing up all of my friends were military
Yeah,
kids, but once I got to
it's
college,
different.
not only I think out of all my friends, only one of two of them actually were like involved in the military somehow. One of them, her dad was in the Air Force. The other one, her aunt was in the military, like in a different type of military. So she had that similar
Yeah,
experience. So I think I was just very blessed with that opportunity to be able to have those benefits, which like shopping at the PX, no
right.
tax, like not paying tax. That's great. Like that's how I planned to buy all electronics that were so
Yeah.
expensive, not be having to pay tax for them. And now it's just like, oh, I could have gotten it. Like I'll go to the stores and it sucks because I'll go to the stores and I have my USAA credit card and everybody knows USAA
Yeah,
is
it's
a
a military
military
bank.
bank. And so I'll give them my credit card and they'll be like, "Oh, military." And I'll be like, "No,
Not
my ID
anymore.
is expired. I can't use the discount anymore." And so that is a moment where I'm just like, "Man, I could have saved a couple dollars just now. And it would have been great." But again, like that's just something you have to learn.
That's
Like
hard.
there are
Yeah,
people that don't have access to
correct.
this type of benefit system, which
Yeah,
I'm learning to live that way
yeah.
now. And you have to take advantage of those things when you
When you
have
have
it,
it.
which I did. Like I went shopping at the PX as much as possible. I went on so many different things as
Exactly.
possible. So many activities,
Everything but medical.
everything. But yeah, I hate going to the doctor, and that was the only thing that I didn't really do when I had those
Never
as an
used.
adult. I just and I mean it's a joke. It's a funny thing to say because I hated the doctor so much. I would go every few years and then like my senior year of college, I sprained my ankle and I scheduled an appointment after going to the ER and I went to my doctor and he was like, "How are you? It's been a year and a half since I've seen you." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm just here because I sprained my ankle. I wouldn't be here any other way." So yeah, I hate going to the doctor. I have my first doctor's appointment again in like 2
And it's
years
the one that you're
this
paying
week.
for it.
I know I'm paying for health insurance now out of my paycheck, that my job, and it's just like, oh my gosh. But luckily I
But
make
don't you
enough.
feel accomplished?
I do. I feel very accomplished by it. And it's fun. It's fun to say that like I'm 23, I have a full-time job with benefits. Like I worked to get there because I
Yeah.
graduated college and I had a seasonal job.
Wow.
And then I got this part-time job and then this part-time job turned to a full-time job with benefits. So I definitely am proud because I worked my way up to that point.
We did that. Let me, can I just clarify that?
But yeah,
We
that's
build that.
you build that repertoire. But yeah, that was pretty great, I gotta say. Um, I forgot how many questions we went through. Okay. Um, let's do one last
One more.
question.
Okay.
You go ahead and pick it.
Okay, one more question. All right. What's an embarrassing moment? I have too many because I'm always in the floor. I'm falling down everywhere. Also, I my accent is very strong, so sometimes I'm trying to say a word and some people understand something
Mhm.
else. For example, when I say beach, I'm trying to say the sun, the water, and people understand something else.
People are like, "What did you just call me?" And
Yes,
you're like,
what
"No,
did you
I
just
I
call me?
said a
No, I'm talking
beach."
about the beach. And well, you get it. So I
Yeah.
don't know. There's so many.
There's one moment that it's just really funny and ingrained in my head. But it was I was in elementary school. We were in Fort Meade or I was at
It
yeah,
was in Glen Heaven.
we were in Glen
Is
Haven,
that the
Maryland.
Halloween thing?
Yeah, so
Yes,
it
it
was
was Glen Heaven
Halloween trick or
Elementary School. Oh
treating
my lord.
and we were walking from the outside to go inside. We had just gone next door because there was like a senior living home or
Yeah, we
something
were
next
doing
door.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we were coming back on our way
No, it was
back.
actually senior living, but they had disability kids
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
And so we had just finished trick or treating and we were on our way back and my mom is walking with us and she's like talking to somebody and turns around talking to the person and then she turns back around and she rams right into a glass door.
Oh my God, that was,
And
and I mean everything stopped, and the principal was like, "What the hell?" And one of the kids that were like special eds or whatever said, "What the fuck?" or something like that. He said a bad word, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I could see my husband and my mom in the far away just checking their heads like that was Janet
it was
that
just
just hit
so
that glass.
funny. That is like an
Yeah,
ingrained moment
it
in
was.
my head. It was a funny, I don't know if you consider that embarrassing, but it was just a really funny
It was
moment
very
in
embarrassing.
like my
It
childhood.
was very, very embarrassing. It was very embarrassing. I have many, many embarrassing moments, but yeah, that
And
was
they just
one.
keep like everyone has those and they
Yeah.
keep happening. I don't think you'll ever stop having embarrassing moments.
No, you
And
don't.
so that's just a
Well,
thing
you
that
make
comes in
that a
life.
fun.
Exactly. It's
You
a
make
fun
a fun
story
story.
later, like
Yeah.
this one was.
You make it a fun
Mhm.
story. Yeah.
Definitely. So, thank you for joining me on
Oh, you're
episode
welcome. Thank you for
2.
inviting me.
Yay. I'm so happy that you got to be my second guest.
Yes.
I wouldn't have it any other way. But is there anything you want anybody to know, if you want anyone to like go check anything out or if you want anyone to like see something somewhere?
So I could say if you guys want to help out Esposas Militares Hispanas, you
Mhm.
can go to our website www.esposasmilitaresusa.org, and we work only by donations. Nobody in our organization is paid. We only have volunteers.
Mhm.
So to progress in our programs like
Yeah.
scholarships and English class and all that, we need donations. So if you would like to donate, you can donate in our website. You can visit us in Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and Google Plus and Pinterest. We literally have an account in every
So
single
just
social network.
Google.
Yeah, just Google Esposas Militares Hispanas and it comes up right away. Right away.
Nice. And then of course, like always, you can follow me on everything curly headed cutie Eileen, and you can listen to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud. Like I'm on all those platforms, and you can watch it if you want on Facebook and YouTube. Curly Headed Cutie Eileen or Curly Headed Cutie Chronicles. Either way, you'll be able to find me. And yeah, thanks for coming. That
Thank
was episode
you.
2 of
Woo
Life
woo.
in Curly Cues with me, Eileen.
Thank
Thanks for coming, and I'll
you.
talk to y'all on the next one.
Thank
Bye.
you.